Welcome to the Middle Ground. I'm your host, Ohio Divided, joined by my co-host, Michigan Metal. We got a lot to talk about tonight, a lot going on in the sports world. We got a lot of things happening from a professional sports championships perspective, a lot of things that happened over the course of last weekend. But the main topic we want to get into tonight is the hammer coming? Will wins be vacated? Michigan football, the COI, is coming this Friday. We're going to get into it. Is that 2023 national championship going to be taken from the Wolverines? Are they going to receive recruiting violations? We want to talk about it. I'm going to give my side of the story. Metal, very passionate about this topic, is going to give his side of the story, and we're going to get into it. What's going on, Metal? How are you tonight, dude?
I'm doing all right. It's a little under the weather, but I'm living. I'm breathing. Daughter's sick, which sucks. I got a 15-month-old who is teething as well, so it's not fun, taking care of a kid who's also sick and also teething at the same time. So all you parents out there that have to deal with kids, when they're sick and stuff, shout out to you guys because this stuff sucks. But I'm living. I'm going through it. I'm trying to put one foot forward, and also got a new couch. And that was a lot of fun. Came in 5 million pieces from Wayfair. Shout out to Wayfair. Hopefully you get a sponsor. Here's a drop segment for that right now. So there you go.
What kind of couch did you get? Sectional or just a normal couch?
I got a sectional with 2 ottomans. Yeah.
Nice.
It came in 7,000 different pieces, like it was from IKEA, and one of the pieces got delivered yesterday, or one of the 5 pieces got delivered yesterday, and one of the pieces didn't get delivered, which was half the couch. So that was fucking odd, and it was interesting. But yeah, I got it all done today, and the apartment in Chirac and Wrigleyville is looking a little different now. A little more exciting, a little more space.
We'll go with Wrigleyville.
Yeah. So, but yeah, how was your weekend, bud?
It was good. My wife worked all weekend, so I got a lot of shit done around the house. I watched a lot of college baseball. Been a good week. Tonight, did some more shit around the house, and then I actually made some chicken bacon ranch sliders on the smoker. So found that recipe for the first time, whipped that shit up, and I gotta say, it's pretty fire. I'm not going to claim the recipe because I found it online or found it on TikTok, but it was good. Like I was very proud of myself, and I'm excited for my wife to try it. She can kind of give me a little bit of credit for making something. So,
does your wife like all of your cooking?
She says she does. I'd say she does a majority of the cooking. She's pretty busy with school and being a nurse and whatnot, but I have to step up to the plate every once in a while and make my fair share of food. So, yeah, I mean, I think I do pretty good. I'm a big crock pot recipe guy, like just throw the shit in, let it slow cook, and then, hey, 6 hours later, it's ready. But, dude, I mean, I'll give myself credit tonight. I mean, I made that shit. I didn't just let it sit. I had to put a little bit of touch into that.
Oh, yeah, some seasoning, spice, and love, man. Blood and sweat.
Yes.
Dude, there's nothing better in like fall weather wise than like a pot roast in the crock pot. Literally nothing.
Yeah.
With like some mashed potatoes and make your own like gravy and au jus. It's fucking amazing. Yeah, so like soul filling food. Yeah, crock pots are amazing. I've made a couple of like chicken pot pie recipes in the crock pot.
Okay.
I've gotten lazy and made some ribs in a crock pot, but yesterday I smoked some ribs on my my charbroil grill that I just got, my propane grill, which I didn't know that you can smoke on that. But yeah, it turned out pretty great. Meat was falling off the bone, and I made some Hasselback potatoes with my own like garlic bombs, which are fucking amazing. So, what kind of smoker do you got there, bud?
Pit Boss.
Ooh.
Pit Boss, yeah. Try to make some shit on it. I mean, definitely during the summer, make some wings, maybe make some steaks, some burgers. I made a smoked mac and cheese one time. That was good as fuck. I need I'm been meaning to make that here
Dude, I was
sometime
just gonna
soon.
ask you that. I was just gonna ask you if you ever made smoked mac and cheese. That's
Dude,
awesome.
it was fucking phenomenal. I made it back in the fall, I think the last time, right before it got really cold and shit out. I
Yeah.
usually don't get the smoker out during the winter much. But yeah, I mean, it was good as fuck. I ate tons of cheese, obviously. Probably not the healthiest thing, but doesn't
No,
always
not
have
at
to be
all.
about that.
As long as it makes you happy, that's healthy. All right. We're
Yeah.
not
Yep.
doctors here, okay? So don't take this as medical advice, everyone, please. I don't want to get sued.
Don't take any medical advice from us.
Yeah, drinking oil is good for you.
So let's get into it. So we had the Memorial this weekend. Scottie Scheffler is on an absolute tear, winning his second, that is back to back, his second Memorial in a row. Um, Obviously, Scottie is the number one golfer in the world. One thing that I found pretty interesting. Um, so he's at 141 weeks overall of being the world number one golfer, and he has 105 weeks consecutively that he has been number one. So to put things into perspective, I would say, I mean, it'd be awesome if we got a Tiger Woods in the world of golf again. Obviously, that's damn near impossible to ever happen. So 141 total, 105 consecutively. For perspective, Tiger Woods was number one for 683 weeks total and 281 weeks consecutively.
Dude, that's legendary.
So, dude, crazy. So for all you math wizards out there, that's 542 more weeks that Scottie needs to catch Tiger, and then 176 more weeks consecutively that he needs to catch Tiger. I mean, obviously, like the odds of him doing that is probably pretty low, but what do you like? What do you think? Which do you think is more likely to happen?
Probably Scotty Ketchum. I mean, he's playing well.
A 683?
Yeah.
The total? Yeah. I mean, to go 176 more weeks consecutively, I'm not too knowledgeable on like how the rankings all work and what determines like somebody going up, somebody going down. Obviously, it's where you place, how you finish, like all of that kind of stuff. But I mean, for 176 more weeks, that's basically 3 more fucking years straight of him being number one. Over 3 years.
Realistically, I don't. It's probably not possible. Like Tiger is the goat, of golf. Like he is the greatest golfer to ever play. Besides, who is it? John
Nicholas
Daly? John Daly is the Diet Coke drinking, the cigarette smoking. He don't drink water. Yeah, he don't drink water. No. He drinks Diet Coke. But one thing I did want to call out about this photo, and I think this baby shit up its back.
Oh shit! I didn't even notice that.
I noticed it. It's like I have my parent senses going on. I'm like, yeah, that's a shit right there.
Hey man, that's the difference between me and you. I don't notice that shit you do.
Yeah, I was like, I have an eye for that. I have an eye and smell for shit now. So, but yeah, that's pretty fascinating. Do I think that will happen? Probably. I retract my statement. Probably not. I mean,
probably
Tiger
not.
was just way too good, like generational talent.
But hey, I'm all for it. I would love to have somebody that not challenges him, but just somebody with that level of success to at least just be in the ballpark of Tiger would be cool. Yeah. And I mean, out of anybody that golfs, I would say Scottie is obviously like the one guy that's threatening it. He started off his career really, really well. He's got a long, long ways to go. He probably has to be good for another 10 years, basically. Yeah. But hey, I mean, he's on the right path, so.
There's a possibility. There might be a chance. Are you saying there's a chance right now?
There is a chance. There's always a chance. There is always a chance.
Speaking of chance, so we have today, we know who's playing Thursday. We have OKC versus Indiana Pacers. OKC is the favorite by 9.5 points. This should be a good one. This should be a good matchup. And it's funny and ironically enough that, or unironic, that the Knicks have dropped from the Eastern Conference Finals again, which they choke. That's their annual thing to do, is just completely choke and play that shit and get blown out in Eastern Conference Finals. Damn, I can't talk. But yeah, this should be a good one. Who do you got winning the finals this year?
I think it's going to be Thunder in 6.
Thunder in 6. Okay.
Yes. I hear a lot of people saying Thunder in 5. I just think that this Indiana Pacer team is a pretty gritty bunch. They have an phenomenal offense. I mean, that game 7 between the Pacers and the Knicks, like they guard like crazy. Like they full court. They had Brunson dead by the end of that game. I mean, all 94 feet of the court, they were guarding that dude up and down. I think they can defend a little bit. Their offense is really good, and obviously, like this entire playoffs, they've kind of just found ways to win. I think the biggest thing is, so you go from the New York Knicks, who have Brunson and Hart kind of as that like guard, basically 6'1", 6'2", to now you got to go guard like Shea, and then you got to guard Jalen Williams. I mean, you're going from 6'1", 6'2", and both of those guys are like 6'6". So, I mean, there's going to be a lot more length on the edge that they're going to have to take care of. Another note that I heard today, that the Thunder are actually ranked 13th in three-point shooting out of all of the teams in the NBA Finals, and they have a record of, 12-4, I think, in the entire playoffs, which that's pretty incredible in today's age where there's a lot of three-point shooting. They're actually one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the playoffs.
SGA and Jalen Williams, SGA has an average points during the postseason of 2024 to 25 of 29.8. Jalen Williams has an average points of 20.4. It's phenomenal. Just like basically per game, like throughout the postseason. I think I would probably take OKC in Game 6. I just think that OKC is the more well-established team than Indiana is. Halliburton's, don't get me wrong, like I think he's an amazing basketball player, but OKC just has better players.
Too much.
They're shooting better. Statistically they've been winning more games throughout the postseason, so I got OKC in 6 games.
So both of us are on the same page there. We didn't even talk about this before.
There is no middle ground, or there is a middle ground with this one. We're both on the same page.
One other note I wanted to bring up that I thought was really cool. So Rick Pitino, who is the head coach of St. John's there in New York, maybe Nick's new head coach. We'll get into that next, maybe. But he put out a tweet the other day that said in his 40 years, I think it was, that he's been a coach, he has never once showed any kind of clip of defense from any NBA team. He said this is the first year that he has showed film of an NBA team's defense, and he's shown it of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think that's just a testament to how good they are defensively. Obviously, I talked about their length a little bit, but he kind of noted in his tweet like the rotations and whatnot are just exceptional. So definitely something to look for, and excited about it. But as you just pulled up there on the screen, we got somebody's out of a job in the big old city of New York City.
You know what's really funny is that New York, when they won basically the semifinals to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I can't fucking say that phrase today. Literally, like downtown New York was kind of just like a mess. Like they were like going around. Fans were going around pulling out garbage cans, celebrating their Eastern Conference Finals, and now they lose 4-2 against the Pacers, and Tom Thibodeau is out of a fucking job. And this is the third year in a row that the Knicks made the Eastern Conference Finals, and they fucking choked again.
Yeah,
just get
punched. I think in their eyes, they're just like, he's a good enough coach to get us here, but I think we've hit our ceiling and we need something else. I mean, I know he does make some kind of brain dead decisions in crucial moments. I know that's kind of been his MO, or kind of what people knock him for over the years. But yeah, they're moving on, so it'll be interesting to see who they're wanting to get. I was listening to, actually, pardon my take today. They were talking a little bit about Jay Wright. They had an episode with him. I don't know when it was, a while ago. And Jay Wright actually said if he would ever coach an NBA team or ever come back to coach, he would like to coach the Knicks. So don't know if there's any truth to him actually doing that, but I would say that that's definitely in play if he came out and said that. On another note, you also have Rick Pitino right there in the city already coaching St. John's. They had a really, really good year, but obviously got bounced in the second round. Can't remember who bounced him. It might have been Arkansas. I could be wrong, though. But, yeah, it was Arkansas because it was Calipari. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of what call comes out of that. But the Knicks are looking for a new coach.
I mean, you can't. It's kind of a hard decision to make. You know, like you make the Eastern Conference Finals, 3 years in a row with Tom Thibodeau. It's just like the same thing if Ryan Day, or back when Jim Harbaugh was coaching Michigan, they make, the national championship, or if they make the semifinals, the playoffs, and you just can't win. You just can't get past that hill. Jalen Brunson and Towns were averaging 29.4 points and 21.4 points. I just don't understand the total collapse, this team had when everything was in their favor. That just got beat by a better Indiana team and just demolished them 4-2.
I do think, too, comparing like a professional team to like a college team is a little bit of a different scenario, because like a professional team, you can hire a coach and basically you're going to have that core for the foreseeable future, unless you have somebody hitting free agency. But for the most part, you kind of know what you're walking into and what you're going to have for the next, I'd say, 3 to 5 years. Where like if you're replacing like a Ryan Day or a Jim Harbaugh, in today's world of the transfer portal and everything, you have the risk of those guys leaving, a lot of guys coming in, and then like your roster's basically turning over every single year. Not to mention you're not coaching like 25, 26, 27, 28-year-olds. Like you're trying to get 18, 19, and 20-year-olds to basically figure it the fuck out. So I think it's a little bit harder to, for one, go into a situation in college, and then for two, to make an authoritative decision like that to replace your head coach. I just think that there's a lot more turnover and ultimately a lot more risk in the college game.
Yeah, I mean, like with pro sports, like the ultimate thing, obviously, is like you want championships, finals, Super Bowls, World Series. College, I think you can get away with it more, and I do agree with you. You can get away with it, with like coaches like making it to, a conference championship game, a playoff game, national championship, and lose ultimately. Like, again, we talked about this last episode. Like, who else are you gonna get to like replace them? Because you're almost there.
Correct.
Like, you are almost there, at the top of the mountain. Like, there's just a little bit of more of a push that needs to happen. But yeah, it's interesting because this season, believe it or not, we've had about 6 different coaches that got fired throughout the season. With the Kings firing their coach Mike Brown, Memphis Grizzlies firing their coach Jenkins, the Nuggets, which was the most surprising to me.
Shocked me.
Yeah, shocked. A little bit player-coach altercation there with Mike Malone. And then the Suns firing their coach, and Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches in NBA history, retired. And then last but not least, we have Tom Thibodeau, just gone. So
a lot of vacancies.
Oh yeah, so it will be interesting. Hopefully the Lakers, they fire Riddick or maybe LeBron. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
One other thing I want to note too. So obviously I'm a Bengals fan, and there's a lot of talk over the past couple years, like fire Zach Taylor. Now, if you fire Zach Taylor, that's perfectly fine. Whoever the new coach is coming in to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins for the next, like I said, 5 years. Like, there's not as much risk there to replace that. Now, if that's a college team and you fired Zach Taylor, he's a college coach, there is a big risk that all three of those guys might just say, you know what? Fuck this place. I'm transferring. I'm out. Because they can do that. There is no contract base. They're not tied to anything. They can leave. Basically, they're on a 1-year contract. Um, but yeah, I think it's kind of two separate scenarios, but it's definitely easier to replace a coach in a professional sport than it is in college.
Oh, yeah. I definitely agree with that.
So this past weekend, we had a lot of college baseball regional. I know if you were following me on X, you saw plenty of tweets that I was putting out. Kind of a wild weekend, honestly. Like it was fucking awesome. I really enjoyed watching it. So they go into these regionals and they basically rank 1 through 16, all of the seeds, and they had the number 1, the number 2, the number 7, the number 10, the number 11, and the number 12 seeds all go down. And I think the highlight or the two highlights of the weekend were UTSA, big brother to Texas, number 2 Texas, took down Texas in back-to-back games, which was wild. And then Wright State, home of Ohio, takes down the number 1 team Vanderbilt. Took them down in game 2 of the regional. And I think that was the first time that a number 1 seed didn't make a regional final. So shout out Raider Gang, putting Ohio on the map, putting Wright State on the map. I'm extremely excited. So now they go on to the regional, the super regionals, I should say. They get matched up with another team and basically play a best of 3 series. And from there, 8 teams will go on to the College World Series. So if you're interested, if you're into college baseball, and I think college baseball is fucking awesome. You get the college football atmosphere, the college football excitement with a lot better hitting than what you get in the MLB. You see a lot more high scoring games, just a lot more electricity around the game than what you'll find in the MLB.
Have you ever been to a college baseball team or a game?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of them back when I was in middle school, high school age. I mean, they're awesome. They're really fun. Like I said, there's just like there's an electric atmosphere, especially when you get to like the regional level. You have the crowd standing, screaming, cheering. The adrenaline, and I would say, is pumping just as equal, if not more, than like an MLB game. I know MLB playoffs is crazy. Don't get me wrong. But college baseball, I think it's one of the more underrated things. If you enjoy baseball, even to a certain extent, if you ever played it growing up, if you enjoy watching your favorite team, I would say just give it a shot. If you notice that there's a game that's close late in the game, turn it on and watch it. I mean, it's a lot of fun, a lot of electricity, like I said.
Plus, you get to see like future prospects, for MLB teams. Either like they're gonna get drafted to said MLB team and play AAA, or like they're gonna start playing right off the bat. Yeah, I totally agree. College baseball is definitely a lot of fun. Definitely a high scoring game, obviously with differences in bats and in span of talent between two different teams. Oregon also lost too. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Oregon went down. They choke in the postseason. It's not just football.
So did Vanderbilt also lost too,
yep.
Which is interesting to see. So yeah, it's definitely something good to watch. If you're not a fan of, check it out. It's definitely interesting to watch if there is any baseball on, just like Divide said.
So, Meadow, I don't know. I know that this next part that we want to hit on, it might hit you to heart a little bit. So,
I've been thinking about it.
Report. Vikings reportedly concerned with JJ McCarthy. Ross Tucker wrote the article. He explained that their concern is because the Vikings wanted Darnold and Jones due to the amount of money offered. I'll let you go. I know that this kind of hits home to you, and then I'll kind of give my opinion on it.
So, I mean, I think like Ross's point of view really doesn't say anything. There's like no insight. Really isn't much of an argument there. He states that the Vikings had interest in Sam Darnold, wanted to keep him, and they wanted to keep Daniel Jones, and they offered money to Sam Howell. I don't get how you come to the conclusion that the front office is not happy with JJ when they drafted him in the top 10 last year in the NFL draft, and they haven't really seen much of him besides what going on with OTAs and like preseason. Which preseason, yeah, he had a couple hiccups, but he also made some really big plays. Again, it's preseason, so yeah. I don't understand the argument that Ross is trying to make, and I also have, which is something great, I have the video. Give me 1 second that we can watch together, and we can commentate on. So this should be good. This is Ross.
Right. I have a healthy skepticism, I would actually say, of both quarterbacks. JJ McCarthy, this will essentially be his rookie season. Now, I will say this. I think it was it against the Raiders he played in the preseason last year? He looked awesome. We're
still high on.
I agree with him on that. He did look phenomenal. He had a couple of bad plays, but he was throwing the deep balls pretty well. He was obviously reading the defense pretty well, especially in the NFL setting. The only problem is, again, it's preseason. You can't really judge a book by its cover because C.J. Stroud played like shit in his first couple of games, and C.J. Stroud is just a fantastic quarterback, and he's just generational talent coming out of Ohio State, and it's something that the Texans needed, especially with their wide receiver core, just to get them over that hill, to progress them to possibly a championship team in the near future. So, I mean, yeah.
We're still high.
I've got a couple takes on this. For one, I mean, this article, what they said, everything they said, they could have said a year ago, regardless of trying to get Daniel Jones, basically. I mean, you're in the same spot you were a year ago. Like you said, we haven't really seen JJ play. I don't think he's been really given a fair chance. This is like something that you say about every rookie quarterback that's coming in. Like, we don't know if we can give him the full range yet. We don't know if we can trust him yet. But that's how it is with every single rookie quarterback that's ever come onto the scene. The other part of this is, yes, I think JJ is a very, very, very talented quarterback. I mean, extremely strong arm. He's athletic. He can extend plays with his feet. But the fact of the matter is, at Michigan, he wasn't necessarily asked to do much. I mean, he made some big time throws. I mean, he has NFL throws on his tape. He has displayed that. But they always ultimately had the running game that they could fall back on, and that was kind of just their bread and butter and what got them to made that team successful. So I think JJ can be a really good NFL quarterback. I just think he's going to take he's still like 22, 23 years old. He's going to take some development. He's going to take some work and whatnot. I think he can develop into a good quarterback. But I just think whenever he was at Michigan, he wasn't necessarily asked to do a whole lot, or he wasn't asked to go basically win a game for Michigan. I don't know. Do you have any comments on that? Do you push back on any part of what I just said?
Yeah, no, like I agree with you. Like I don't think Michigan's style of offense, like the pro style offense where it's like run first, where we relied on Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, to basically to advance the ball down the field. Like, we didn't really need his athleticism to say, and when I say that, for the QB position at Michigan, like, we did well with Cade McNamara. But I think what took us over the top into the championship, hopefully no one clips me like a fucking idiot what I just said there, but to take us over to the top for a championship, I think JJ had a huge role in that. And especially with the plays, the final drive against Alabama in the 2023 Rose Bowl, where like he just got the ball down the field to Roman Wilson, those big scrambles, and obviously the touchdown to Roman Wilson. And like, it's just something that like Michigan, like that clutch effort that JJ McCarthy has, and I think that's what a lot of NFL teams probably saw, and I think it's what Kevin O'Donnell probably sees with him. And I know I saw there was a couple of posts, or actually Justin Jefferson said that JJ McCarthy reminds him, JJ reminds him of Joe Burrow, which is actually a really fucking good compliment to say, because Joe Burrow was the quarterback at LSU during 2019 undisputed championship run with JJ, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. So, I mean, I think what this article says is absolutely nothing. It's like basically water is wet. A lot of teams, they go after backup quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, like he still started for the Giants. And, some teams probably see some potential there. And, of course, they're going to pay them. Like this whole thing that, the front office have some worries or concerns with JJ because they paid someone money. Like that's a ridiculous argument. And like I don't understand like how you can string those together. And I feel like it's a reach. It really doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I don't know. It's just odd. It's especially for something that like Ross would say, and he gets some praise like during a preseason game, but then he says these like ridiculous things. So I mean, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to deem him Joe Burrow quite yet. I think we need to see him perform in the NFL. I think that's just Justin Jefferson giving his boy a little bit of credit just because he's gotten some shit the past couple of days in the media. But I think one thing that you have with JJ, like, yeah, you have the arm. He's young. He's talented. But he's an elite leader. Like, he is a guy that you want leading your franchise. He's a guy that you want on your team. I just think that he has everything that it takes to be good. And in terms of him going into a Kevin O'Connell's system, I mean, look what he did. Kirk Cousins was really good. Sam Darnold had a breakout season this past year. I don't think he could have gone into maybe a better situation as a young quarterback at his age and the talents and the tools that he has. And ultimately, he's going to fall back on his leadership, his mentality. I think that he can end up being a really good quarterback if him and O'Connell can stay together and they kind of keep things consistent for him. And if he's ready, awesome, throw him out there. But if he's not ready, then, I mean, find somebody else, play somebody else for a little bit, and don't start him week one. Maybe you hold off a few weeks into the season and whatnot. But I think there's a really good chance that JJ can be a good quarterback in the NFL. And, I mean, he's won a championship before. He's been in those high-pressure moments. He showed he can do it. So, I mean, I think that this –
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think this article is basically something you could have written a year ago. Like, yeah, no shit, you don't know anything about JJ McCarthy because he has not played yet.
If you breathe air, you will live. Like, that's
correct.
Basically, all the article says, and it's just like a ridiculous argument that, like, I see some people on Twitter that say JJ is a bust, and I look at that as, well, obviously you don't watch the games, or they'll use like the TCU highlights.
Well, how can you call him a bust? He hasn't even played yet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, some people will say that he's a bust because he got injured. I'm like, well, Joe Burrow got injured. Like, he blew out his knee against the Browns.
Yeah.
Like, look at him like a year later, literally. They're a couple drives away from, winning the Super Bowl.
They're a fucking drive away.
Yeah. So I don't get it. I feel like there's a lot of, vindictiveness, some vitriol, like towards JJ just because like he's a Michigan quarterback, and myself being a Michigan fan, and just like a little off topic, I like Will Howard. I think Will Howard's a great leader. Like, I think what stepped over Ohio State to winning a national championship was because of Will Howard and that phenomenal roster. Like, nobody else, like, fills that role. And it's the same thing with, like, JJ McCarthy. Like, if you have fucking Cade McNamara in that position, Michigan never wins a national championship. It's all about the leadership and how you lead that charge and, just like the field general of these quarterback roles. And Zach Smith, like, spoke about this a couple months ago that, JJ McCarthy's a phenomenal quarterback. So let me ask you this, Divided. Do you think, especially with like JJ's like stat records of having like 72.4% completion percentage compared to like Will Howard, do you think JJ beats those records if JJ is on that 2024 Ohio State National Championship roster?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, I do. I think he does. I think the talent, I mean, you had 2 NFL running backs on that team. You had a first-round wide receiver on that team, and potentially 2 other first-round receivers on that team. You had Quinshon, Travion coming out of the backfield, which pretty similar to what they had at Michigan in terms of talent. But whenever you go to receiving court, JJ did not have the receivers that Will Howard had. I think that he flourishes in that offense just as good, if not maybe better than what Will did. I know Will kind of always had a turnover problem coming into Ohio State. His deep ball was never really the best. But I think that that's something that they kind of coached him up on whenever he got into town. And kind of like you said, the ultimate reason why Ohio State won a national championship is because they had a leader at that quarterback position finally that they didn't have with Kyle McCord. And I'm not even sure if they had it a whole lot with CJ Stroud. Stroud was phenomenal, but I don't know how much of like, when the going gets tough, is he going to be a guy to like rally the troops type of guy? And Will Howard was exactly that. He's not the most.
Stroud's the type of guy to like lead behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his composure was always 100%. He looked humbled. Like you can tell, like nothing, like the monotone look, or like nothing would affect him. But like Will Howard, when you see like the frustration or when you see the excitement, especially
show me the emotions.
Yeah, show like the emotions, like because people, it's the same thing with like music. Like when you go and see a band, like you want to see that emotion from the band. You don't want to sit up there and be stick figures, and just playing the guitar or like singing or anything like that. They want to see excitement. They want to see movement, and that's the thing with like Will Howard, like especially during the Indiana game, which is funny as fuck. When he put out the cigarette, like for Signetti from the head coach of Indiana, like I'm just like, wow, I like this guy. Even though like he's Ohio State quarterback and I fucking hate Ohio State, I like him. Like he was a fit. He was a person, and I don't think anyone in that 2025 class, QB wise, like if you put anyone else in that situation, put Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, or who else? Jalen Milroe. Anyone else that gets put in that situation, I don't think they win a national championship. I just think the leadership there with Will Howard is just way too high, and high of a reach for anyone else to fill those shoes.
I mean, I think you can throw about any quarterback into that offense, and it's going to be really fucking good because it's basically like, hey, you got the keys to the Lambo, don't wreck it.
Right.
That's the approach that you needed to have. But whenever you get into the postseason and the pressure's on, the crowd's loud, you have to make a play. You have to make something happen. That's ultimately where you have a talented guy separated by a leader. And a leader is what Will Howard was. And I think ultimately what really propelled Ohio State to get to where they wanted to go. And it all solely came down to his mentality, his leadership. I mean, he was the perfect guy for the spot that they had. He filled the role perfectly and had a really good season, a memorable season, and will be remembered in Ohio State history forever. So,
yeah.
Shout out Will Howard.
With that 13-10 loss to Michigan.
With that 13-10 loss to Michigan, but we got a ring, so we don't give a fuck. But we got to do.
Speaking of Ohio State, so we have some
news. Shaking some shit up finally. We got a new AD in town. We got some shit changing in Buckeye country.
Yeah, so we got a new section of the stadium. Wow, look at that. That looks awesome.
There's been some contradicting opinions on this. So this is actually where the students sit. So the area that they're taking is where the band typically sits, and the band is now going to the opposite end, the north end, which I learned back in the early 2000s. That's where the band has always been. So I saw people kind of bitching about that online. But I mean, I don't know. I just have to wait and see how it goes. Like you see some of these suites and whatnot in like professional sports. There's probably a couple other college programs out there that has something like this. Whenever I think of these suites, I actually think back to, I don't know if you remember this or not, the Rams game last year where the rapper Blueface proposed to his wife or his fiance.
Yeah, because
and then there's
like
just
the Garden View
strippers,
like, suites, right? Like kind of like the Rangers,
right
do,
on
like,
the field and
yeah,
right on the field and shit. Yeah, and they had strippers in the background shaking their ass as he's sitting there getting down on one knee. Like, what a moment! And then you had Matthew Stafford's wife come out and saying like she doesn't need her kids staring at girls' butt cheeks and shit. Just hilarious. That's just kind of what I thought of whenever I thought about this. Another note somebody said was that like if Ohio State fans need to rush the field, like how are they doing it with this setup?
Well, you don't want to be like the SEC where like teams get fined, $500,000 now if you rush the field. So maybe this is like a defense mechanism for countering people, students rushing the field. When was the last time Ohio State or like fans rushed the field?
Probably 2018 against Michigan. I think they usually do it every year against Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, back when we used to beat you.
Yeah. I think that's when the horse and buggy was invented. Something
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't have traffic lights or anything yet at that time. There were really no rules in the world. But yeah, I think every time that Ohio State beats Michigan, I think that they typically rush the field. I can't remember another time off the top of my head. Right after then, you kind of had like the COVID area and whatnot. And then through the Stroud years, McCord, I don't think they ever did last year. No, I would say probably 2018 Michigan was the last time.
Wow. Have you
go ahead. Sorry. I was just gonna say no. This is like so they have 9 suites that are going to be added here. You got 12 person suites, so 12 in each suite. And then there's 400 chairback seats on top. And I'm told that I read in an article, I think it might have been an 11 Warriors article, that it's $6,000 for the season. Ooh. For one of those seats up there. So for you math people out there, if you take $6,000 times that by 400 seats, that's 2.4 million you pull in right there. Just that little section right there. 2.4 million.
Maybe they can invest that money into a new field because I know Ohio DG Anthony, shout out to my boy. He talks about every day, and I know he was pissed as fuck with this that they're adding suites, but they can't get a new field.
Yeah, I know that there's a couple things that I know DG, he's been pretty vocal about it on X. But I think like a field is one, a new scoreboard, and then sound system. That sounds like the 3 that is pretty like a common theme across the Ohio State fan base, that's something that they would like to see. I mean, I don't really know. I don't really fucking care, to be completely honest. I think it's pretty cool. You're changing some shit. We brought in Ross Bjork from Texas A&M for a reason, and he came in saying he's going to spend money and ultimately said he wants to build this into something, a program or facilities type wise that NFL teams even drool over. So he's only been here a year. He's got a national championship under his belt. So I'm sure he's probably looking to use this as momentum to level up anything and everything that he can. So I don't know. I'm all for it. I mean, we haven't had a change to the shoe in forever. I mean, what's been the headline with the horseshoe is you cut up to Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt up in the booth, and it looks like they're in a third world country. You got ceiling tiles missing, shit falling out of the ceiling. So hopefully they got new ceiling tiles. I would hope that if they can put in 9 suites, they could find a few extra dollars to put in some ceiling tiles. But no, definitely a major upgrade that they need to have. The shoe's been not really had much done to it in the past few years, so I'm good with it. We'll see how it goes, and maybe in a few years they're like, that was dumb, or maybe like, yeah, that was a good idea. But end of the day, bringing in 2.4 mil. So how can you argue that?
Aren't there seats in the shoe where like it's blocked by like a concrete pylon, like a stanchion?
Yeah. So if you sit in the B deck, which I've sat up there, I've sat up there before. There's like certain views where you're not just staring straight at a cement post, but you kind of have to like move a little bit and look around it. It sucks in certain areas under the B deck, but yeah, I mean that's kind of what you get. I know Michigan is basically just all the way up, so you probably can see the field for the most part from everywhere pretty well, but there are some tough spots in the shoe that are a little hard to see the game.
Oh yeah, like I mean, like the lower, like corner end zone spots can get a little bit difficult. Like trying to watch what's going on, especially
Yeah.
looking like to the opposite end of the end zone. I mean, luckily, like they added, a bigger jumbotron on like
You're
was it the
saying
north?
Michigan?
Yeah, for Michigan, yeah. But
I like what
haven't.
Michigan's done, like with their stadium. Like they do a lot of like really cool night shows or light shows at night. That's something Ohio State kind of started in the playoff and whatnot. Yeah, damn, what you just pulled up there on screen, that's really fucking bad. I have not sat there, but
That would
yeah, that's
fucking
that's
suck.
clearly a fucking seat. I mean, who's buying that? But
There's a couple of spots at Wrigley Field that are like that, especially like
I have seen
section.
that. Isn't there literally a seat like directly behind a post where if you sit
Oh
there,
yeah,
you're staring at straight concrete?
I think it's like section 215, somewhere in whatever row it is. But yeah, like you can sit behind like a steel pylon, and you're like, all right, like I'm here enjoying the game, while I'm just staring at this pylon. But
Yeah,
it
I don't know.
it is interesting. I you were saying that Ohio State doesn't do like any like night game shows or anything like that, like Mr. Brightside or anything like that.
No, we don't do Mr. Brightside. I mean they have the fireworks and whatnot, but like I feel like a real popular trend right now is like turn off the lights. And you basically just have like a light show, laser lights everywhere. I went to the Tennessee game and they had it that night, but that was the first time that I knew about it, or they might have had it before then. But ultimately, like just their game day atmosphere as a whole, I think kind of is behind a lot of the other big programs in the country. But I mean, fuck you, Fox. You do us absolutely no favors. Most of our big games are at noon, anyways, and fucking Western Michigan at 8 o'clock at night. Like,
Oh yeah, you guys are playing Ohio
woohoo!
at 7:30. That's amazing.
Hell yeah, baby.
Maybe
Yeah,
Grambling State will be a night game too. Well, no, I think it's a 3:30
I think that's
game,
at
but
3:30.
yeah.
Yeah, they got that shit backwards. You got the biggest game at noon and then the worst game at night. They got
But
it literally completely backwards.
so when we're talking about like Ohio State and Michigan, right? So like the two stadiums. If I were to go to the game to Columbus, do you think I would get beat up?
No, but if you're wearing Michigan gear, you'd get a lot of shit talked to you. I guarantee that.
It's
I don't think
funny.
you'd get beat up unless you were like in a bar at midnight just talking shit. Then yeah, there you might talk shit to the wrong douchebag and they might take matters into their own hands and create a fight. But I don't think anybody would like just blatantly go up to you and just like punch you or anything. But you would definitely get a lot of shit talking for sure.
Oh yeah, I can see that. And it's probably the same way. Like I've never been to a Ohio State Michigan game up in Ann Arbor. I kind of choose not to because like I like to watch the game on TV and I can drink
That's
as
the
much
best
as
view in the house.
Oh yeah, right. I can drink as much as I want and I don't have to worry about driving home or having someone DD home. But yeah, like it's definitely I've heard some things about like Michigan kind of having a different perspective than Ohio State does, where like I've always been told like if you go to the shoe and wearing Michigan stuff, like you're gonna get your ass kicked, and which is like intriguing because like my dad and I kind of talked about this, like we should go to Columbus one year, because like my stepmom and my stepbrothers, they're all Ohio State fans,
I was
unfortunately.
gonna say your dad's a Michigan fan, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's weird. So like this whole dynamic, right? So my family,
I've seen the video that you sent me of your parents' basement. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
literally house divided.
It is.
It's badass.
Like you walk down the stairs, like the left side is Ohio State and the right side is Michigan, and then you go down into the basement. Like the front half is basically like Michigan, and then like the wall is Ohio State and all the way to the back. But like there's always this like shit talking like going on every single fucking year, which is amazing. I love it. And like my family's dynamic. Like growing up, like my mom's side was all Ohio State fans. So like my aunt's Ohio State fan, my uncles are Ohio State fans. My aunt's husband, and then my grandpa is a huge Ohio State fan. So like kind of just like going to his house down in Fort Myers, Florida. Like he has his den area just filled with like Archie Griffin stuff, like with Woody Hayes, all the different Ohio State gear, and I kind of look at it and like growing up, like going over his house, like I can just see it all the time, and I'm just obviously I'm like, oh fuck Ohio State, but like I respect it, you know what I mean? Like I love it. I love the rivalry and all that stuff. So, but like going to Michigan as an Ohio State fan, I don't think anyone would have any fear or anything like that of like people like ganging up on you or anything like that. And like you said, it's probably the same for Columbus. So I definitely want to make a trip to Columbus. I've only been to Columbus once to see Sonic Temple, which was Rockin' Range back in 2017, and I just saw a bunch of Ohio State fans like around wearing Buckeye shirts and all that stuff. So. Yeah, I definitely have to make a trip down there. And have you ever been to Ann Arbor before?
I actually have. I went to the Ohio State-Michigan game back in, I think it was 2007. It was a year that Todd Beckman was the quarterback, Beanie Wells was a running back. I think we won like 14-3 or something like that. It was a year that we got butt fucked by LSU in the national championship game. But I mean, it was basically how I described Columbus being. Like there was just a lot of Michigan fans talking shit to us and whatnot. There was just shit talk and nothing like over the top, obviously. Like people were respectful and nobody crossed the line at all. I mean, it was basically just words and whatnot, just screaming shit at you. But no, I mean, it was pretty intense. I don't know if I would go back. I was a lot younger, obviously, at that point in time. I think today, especially after a few beers, I might chirp some shit back at him, but I was pretty young at that point, so I wasn't saying shit.
Yeah. Like, all right, well, yeah, have a good day.
Yeah.
I think, what was the score of that game you said?
I think it was 14-3. I could be wrong, though. It was a pretty boring game, if I remember right. I think Beanie Wells had like 250 yards rushing or some shit. Let me look it up real quick.
Chad Henne as quarterback, and then Mike.
Yeah. It was the year after like that. I think it was that really big game that was under the lights in the shoe. Like basically, they called it the game of the century. Remember that one?
Yeah, that was
Ohio State won 42-39.
That was the last time I think Michigan Ohio State played at 3:30.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like rolling into like they had to turn on lights and stuff, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think 3:30 would be a great time for the game, but yeah. Anyways, I don't know if I would ever go back. Like I said, I would probably have a lot more choice words to say now that I'm legal age of drinking and would let my thoughts come out of my mouth. But no, it was a pretty cool experience, like something that I'll never forget, and came away with the dub that day, so that always helps.
Well, I think we should set up is I think you should come to the House Divided this year. And we should do a live stream event afterwards the game on the result of the game. Well, that'd be pretty fascinating. Like, what do you think?
That would be pretty fun. I typically, my one side of the family is like massive Ohio State fans. So the last few years, we've watched the game as a family together. But I think the year that we started that was like 2019, obviously Ohio State won, but ever since then it's been like bad luck to the point where everybody's like, yeah, we need to just like stop watching these fucking games together because we can never win anymore. And I don't know if we're going to keep doing it like that, but yeah, I mean, if we don't, then I would be down for sure. But we typically have some kind of Thanksgiving party that day.
Everyone always has like their superstitions with the game. Like my uncle is basically notorious for like just staying at home. Like he doesn't want to come over. I have a couple friends that like just watch the games by themselves, and they're Ohio State fans. And I get it, like you don't want to sit there and watch the game, and all of a sudden, the opposing, like Michigan, if you're an Ohio State fan, starts winning, and you have to just deal with that, like the cheering, the celebration, and then opposite, like if you're a Michigan fan, which I saw from 2012 going to 2019, that 8 straight years of just pure domination from Ohio State. So I get it. Like I totally understand like why people have their superstitions, and then when like the opposite teams or their said team like starts winning, they're like, okay, well this is working for me. Like I have to stay in my zone, my spot.
Yeah. Regardless of what happens, I think that we should definitely have a live show, live reaction as soon as the game ends. I think that would be pretty cool. That's me putting my neck on the line with how shit's been going though the past few years. To sit through that, especially after viewers, like last season. Ugh.
Fair warning, viewers, I might be 30 beers deep during that time, so I'm sorry if I sound intoxicated after the game. But that's just the normal circumstances of watching Ohio State Michigan. It's a party, but
what comes with 30 beers. Honesty,
yes. And fun.
Maybe some overreaction, but honesty.
Speaking of overreaction, let's talk about baseball, MLB. The good old fun. So,
can we not?
No.
Do we have to?
No.
We have to?
We got to talk about this. We definitely have to talk about this. So, how are the Reds doing so far?
Not good. I think coming into the season, we hired Tito Francona. Had a lot higher expectations. Obviously, you're a Red Sox fan, so you know him very well. He brought you a World Series championship.
Yes, he did.
It's been kind of a disappointing year. I mean, the pitching's been phenomenal. We have one of the best pitching staffs in all of Major League Baseball, but we can't fucking hit. And I think that was kind of something that a lot of us Reds fans were screaming going into the year, especially from an outfielder standpoint. We didn't have much hitting when it came to especially like our corner outfields. Offense has been absolutely atrocious. Ellie De La Cruz, he's been okay. Like, he's been solid, but I think some people expected a little bit more from him. I get he's 23, he's 24, whatever he is. But, I mean, this is year 3. I kind of expected him to take a little bit more of a level up. He's still striking out about the same rate as what he was, right around that 30%. I was really kind of hoping that was going to go down a little bit. He's struggled a little bit in the field. I think he either leads the major leagues in errors, or he's at the top. But no, I don't know. He's good. He's a unicorn. He is what he is. He's talented as fuck. But I mean, you're just not getting the production that you thought you were going to get out of a guy like Matt McClain. I mean, I thought he was Ellie level 2 years ago. He missed all of last year with the torn labrum, so he's coming back from that. He's been pitiful, like to the point where they need to probably send him down to AAA to get some at-bats to get his confidence back because he's shot. Spencer Steer has had a really, really rough year. He kind of came into spring training with the shoulder injury. They ultimately decided not to do anything with it. They gave him some time off during spring training, so he kind of got a late start to things, but he hasn't been kind of what we were expecting. Another guy, CES, he's hurt again, a big power hitter, but whenever he has been playing, I don't think that he's produced to the point of what they have. I mean, they have all these talented guys that they had through the farm. They're starting to kind of get their way up there. We still have some pitching prospects down in the minor leagues, but I just think that you just expected more. Like, we saw flashes back in 2023. Everybody was really, really high. Last year we had some key injuries. Shit wasn't going right. Ended up firing our coach. So this year we brought in Tito. I honestly think it's a smokescreen from what the ultimate issue is. I really just think that the ownership group doesn't really give a fuck about winning. They're just more worried about ending up in the green. Business is good. So they're not worried about too much. And then our general manager, Nick Kroll, I mean, he's fucking ass. I don't know how much leeway that they give him with money and whatnot, but he just, like, when you're running guys like Garrett Hampson, Connor Joe, just guys you probably don't even know who the fuck they are in the lineup every day. You got Santiago Espinal, another guy who's kind of a journeyman type guy, utility type guy, batting in your 2-hole. I mean, that's ultimately how you get to a 30-33 record. They just haven't really lived up to the expectations to this point. I see a lot of Guardians fans that reply to a lot of my stuff, and they're like, well, this is kind of how Tito's teams go. Like, they kind of start off slow, and then the back end of the year, that's when they really turn it on. It's like, I get that. Like, I completely understand that. But I just think the hitting is that bad. Like, it's just that bad.
Your guys, De La Cruz, like, his average right now is 257. And then I think Freddie has a 300 average.
Friedel.
So,
Yeah,
Friedel, sorry.
TJ Friedel. Yeah, he's our center fielder. And I don't know if you saw the other night, or when was that? Last night, actually. Bottom of the ninth, guy on first, scores 4-2. Guy hit a dick right out the center field, and he jumped up, robbed it, won the game. So they got pretty lucky last night. So they ended up winning that one. But yeah, he's had a good season. He's probably been the brightest spot. I mean, they brought in Gavin Lux. He's been pretty solid as well. Probably their best signing was Austin Hayes. They got him. I think he came from the Orioles. He was fucking awesome.
He was good last year too.
Yeah. He's been fucking awesome when he plays, but I think he's on his third IL stint. So the dude can't stay healthy. He'll come back and play 10 to 15 games and then go out for another week and a half, 2 weeks. So
yeah, he's only had,
I don't know,
119 at bats so far and like 31 games played.
Who is that? Hayes?
Yeah, Hayes. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So yeah, half the games basically that he's played, if they're 30-33, he just hasn't started the year on the IL, went on the IL, and I mean now he's back on it again. So yeah, I don't know, just kind of disappointing. I think that a lot of us Reds fans probably had too high expectations going into it. It's just frustrating as fuck because you have an elite pitching staff that you're in almost every single game. They lose a lot of games like 1-0, 2-1. Like, they just don't have any hitting. And then whenever they do get guys in scoring position, or they get guys first and second, less than 2 outs, like, they're just not finding ways to either move them over, or you got guys in second and third, less than 2 outs, not finding ways to put the ball in play just to get guys in. They just strike out at an absurd rate. It's not good in Reds country. Both Cincinnati teams have poor ownership that really don't give a fuck about winning. But at least from the Bengals side of thing, in Cincinnati, you still got Joe, Jamar, and T, so that at least gives you something to watch.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you guys, like, are kind of similar to the Red Sox. Like, 9+ games behind, and the Reds are in the National League Central. 9.5 games behind the Cubs, and I believe the Red Sox are also 9 or 10 games behind the Yankees right now in the AL East. So, like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still relatively early for baseball. Like, we're about a quarter away through, or a third.
Yeah, so we're at 63 games, so 99 left. So we're not quite halfway, but I mean, if you want to say it's a long season, yeah, it's a long season. But you better kick it into fucking gear soon if you're going to do it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Alex Cora and the Red Sox, because it's definitely been a struggle.
They seem eerily similar to the Reds. Just obviously you're a Red Sox fan, so I kind of follow along with them a little bit as well, and seems like we're having little similar seasons. If we could just combine our teams, I think we'd be okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, the problem with the Red Sox is obviously, like they lead the league right now with like .87 in errors, which is almost 1. And they're in last place, which is fucking phenomenal, and something that they struggled with the last couple of years, where they were just terrible with just making field plays and just these constant errors that were happening. And then also, leading the league in strikeouts at bats. Like it just something like just has to change, and where like I kind of just question Cora's like leadership and management like material for the Red Sox. Like, does the Red Sox in the city of Boston deserve something better? The Red Sox right now are 6-17 in 1-run games, and we can't clinch wins.
Wow. I would say the Reds are probably pretty similar in some kind of way to that as well.
It sucks to watch like your favorite team, like where every year the start of spring training and you're like, okay, like we're going to do something this year. We're going to make it
positive vibes.
Yeah, the positive vibes, right? Like we got, these different prospects coming up, like Roman Anthony, Marcelo, what's his name? Forgot his name. Like name's Marcelo Mayer comes up, got called up from the Woo Sox after Bregman's, hamstring injury, which he's going to be out for 2 months. Like are we going to, make some changes that are going to happen, right? And then we have like players like, Trevor Story, who just can't fucking hit the ball to save his goddamn life, and also can't field for shit. And
which is crazy.
Yeah, which is insane. This is the first time, I believe, since he got traded years ago that like he's playing this long and hasn't gotten hurt. And I kind of feel like this is like the Red Sox curse, to where like since we traded Mookie Betts to the Dodgers, which is probably the dumbest fucking thing that we've done since Babe Ruth. After winning the 2018 World Series against the Dodgers, that everyone that just comes here just gets injured and either has season-ending injuries, and if you look at like Chris Sale, like as phenomenal he played in 2018, just like those clutch pitches in the 2018 postseason and the World Series, like he didn't do shit after that. And then he goes to the Braves, and he wins a Cy Young. So, and it's just like you're just looking at this like Mookie Betts goes off to the Dodgers, and wins two World Series, and it kind of makes you feel like as a Red Sox fan that the curse of the great Bambino is back in full effect.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't made a postseason since 2021. In which, like, we had Kyle Schwarber make great plays against the Rays and the Yankees, and that roster was just, like, phenomenal. Like, Christian Vasquez, Kyle Schwarber, like, and then we could completely, like, shit the bed. Valdi pitched terrible against the Astros in the ALCS. And it's just like, what do we got to do? To get over that hill, that hump. As a Red Sox nation, to make sure that like we're not fucking struggling to win games, to pitch.
Yeah. Well, I'd think one thing about the Red Sox and the Reds is like both organizations have an extremely rich history. So like the expectation is obviously to win, and like you have a rich history where winning has been done in the past, and that's what the fans expect. Obviously, you guys have had a lot more success in recent history than what the Reds have had. But it's frustrating. I know, especially from Reds fans, just like the older generations especially are just like, this sure isn't the Big Red Machine anymore. Like, yeah, the Big Red Machine was like 50 years ago at this point. But yeah, just frustrating all the way around. I will say too, in terms of like Mookie Betts going to the Dodgers, I think a lot that helps him there is that you also got to pitch to Shohei Ohtani. You also got to pitch to Freddie Freeman. You also got to pitch to Teoscar Hernandez. Like, whenever he's on the Red Sox, like there's no team in baseball has that deep of a lineup as what the Dodgers have. So you can be a little bit more careful whenever you get to a Mookie Betts whenever he's on the Red Sox. Where when you're on the Dodgers and you have those other three hitting right around them, like you're going to get pitched to. And having those guys around you takes a little bit of pressure off you to perform as well. And then whenever there's less pressure, most people perform better. So
yeah, I mean Ohtani is again like just generational talent, and then like he's up in the races with like one of the best like batting averages in baseball, which is Aaron Judge. Fuck the Yankees, by the way. So Aaron Judge has a 387, and also first and for OPS with 1.242, and Ohtani is for third with a 1.047. So the Yankees are out there. They started out like slow and sluggish, but they are definitely accelerating right now. The foot is on the pedal. So
yeah,
it's crazy how good Aaron Judge is right now, and with the best batting average in baseball at this moment.
I think that's the most impressive thing. I mean, the dude has like 20 home runs, give or take maybe one way or another, but just how he's hitting from like an average standpoint, like the dude's seeing the ball really well, like he's driving it to all fields. Like I think I saw a spray chart of him the other day, and a lot of good hitters you see like, hey, they hit it to like this general, or like they pull it to this general area a lot.
Yeah.
You look at his spray chart, it's pulling everything to left field. He's driving the ball up the middle. He's hitting it opposite field, other way to right field. I mean, that's just a strong indication that the dude is just swinging it really well, and he's seeing it really well. And, I mean, he's going to win the MVP, and I would say Ohtani probably will too on the National League side of things. But, yeah, I mean, two just generational talents. It fucking sucks that one is against your biggest rival or plays for your biggest rival. But from my perspective, we're never going to fucking compete with the Dodgers in the playoffs, so we're not even going to make the fucking playoffs. So I just kind of sit back and enjoy the greatness. I'm never a guy that really hates like the best players. I enjoy appreciate just really good play and whatnot. And what both of those guys do for the game is phenomenal. I just think Major League Baseball needs to market those guys a little bit better. I think that baseball is a pretty cool game. I think it's a little bit more on the rise. I think with like the pitch clock and whatnot that they implemented a couple of years ago, I think it really improved the game. It's just a lot more entertaining to watch, and you're not just sitting there for 3.5 hours bored out of your mind.
Right. I don't think I've shown you this before, but I have especially I found this on Twitter with the Red Sox altercation where Jose Flores, the first base coach, gets in a little altercation there with one of the Angels pitchers. Yeah.
Which pitcher is that?
It's
Tyler Anderson?
Yeah, Tyler Anderson, yeah. Yeah.
Did they ever come out and say what they were bitching about?
No, they didn't. So that hasn't been released yet, but I just it's just like kind of like the cornucopia of like what the fuck is this team doing?
What the fuck are we doing?
Like what are we doing? Like we just struggle so fucking hard. Like last year, like we were doing pretty awesome in June going into July before the All-Star break. Like we're doing amazing. Like Duran was the MVP of the All-Star game in 2024. And then after the All-Star break, we just completely shit the fucking bed with like pitching.
Yeah.
Like our starters, like Crochet is our best starter on that team. And then we got Tanner Houck and Bayo, who just completely fucking collapse. And I don't know what it is. The other day I saw Red Sox Facebook page and Twitter page post Bayo's fucking stats. And you know what his stats were? He had 6 Ks and 3 ERAs. I'm like, what are you posting this fucking stats for? He played terrible. Like, this is mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, is this what like the Red Sox organization has come to? Like Craig Breslow is just this low of mediocrity for the city of Boston. Like I'm so fucking tired of it. Like I'm in a group chat with my dad and his best friend, and unfortunately his best friend is an Astros fan. So, and like just the constant complaints that we have like for this Red Sox team, like it's all valid. Like we fucking suck. It's so hard to watch this team and just see the complete collapse, starting from, the other day Mike Trout had the three run blast. And
I think I did see that.
Yeah. Who was it? Who was pitching? Fuck. I forgot who was pitching, but they gave up 6 runs in the first inning, and that's when like the Red Sox came back. Sedane had a big home run blast that we needed, and then we lost by 1 run. It's just the story of the Red Sox, and I feel like this is going to continue to be the story until we get a new manager. I just don't think Cora is that person for the Red Sox, and people give him that that shrine of 2018, but you got to look at that roster. Like that outfield was fucking amazing. Like Jackie Bradley Jr. in the outfield, Andrew Benintendi, and also Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing.
Loaded.
Completely fucking loaded. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're both kind of in the same spot. I think we're just facing mediocrity, and it just seems like both of our organizations are kind of just like, it is what it is. This is just who we are right now. I mean, from a fan perspective, it's frustrating as fuck. And I think the worst part about it is, like, it's the middle of the summer. I know that we have like the NBA Finals, NHL Finals, College World Series, and whatnot on right now.
Right.
But like, my biggest ask from the Reds is just get me to the end of August, please. Just get me to keep me engaged till the end of August whenever football season starts, and I can root for Ohio State, I can root for the Bengals and everything, and then go on with my life from there. But I mean, it's fucking June 4th, and I feel like it's just done unless they go on some kind of crazy run, which I don't anticipate because they can't hit the fucking ball. Like I said, if we gave you our pitching and you gave us your offense, I think we would have a pretty damn good team. But we can't hit, we can pitch. You can hit, but you can't pitch, and obviously errors, it sounds like, is a little bit of an issue too. But yeah, we're just both at the state of mediocrity right now.
There was rumors going around, like trading rumors, that Jarren Duran is going to get traded to San Diego Padres for 2 top 50 prospects. Leo DeVries, which is shortstop, and then catcher Ethan Salas.
I mean, would you be okay with that?
Nah. I think if the Red Sox get rid of him, I feel like they're making another big mistake. Like Duran's not a bad baseball player. I mean, right now he's at a 274 average, OPS like 747. Like he's like kind of like a utility guy. Like basically, like if you want someone to get on base, like Duran could do that. And
then he can play anywhere in the field if you need him to.
Like there was his struggles like years ago, and like they talked about that in the Netflix documentary, where like he tried to, suicide himself because of, just bad plays and like fans like just getting in his head and all that stuff. But like he overcome that, overcome those hills and obstacles. So I think right now, like the face of the franchise for the Red Sox would be Jarren Duran, because nobody else is going to step up to that plate, which the Red Sox lack is a leader. They don't have anyone to be a leader. Like Devers, as great as he is, but he's not the leadership material. I mean,
he seems kind of like a little bit of a bitch, just kind of his comments in spring training about the whole what's his face Bregman thing.
I want to play third base. Like, dude, you're telling me that you think you're gonna play third base over a 2-time Golden Glove player? Fucking.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay to think that and keep that to yourself, but to go out to the media and say that, I mean, that speaks volumes to who you are, like as a person. Like you're kind of a little selfish, at least in my opinion.
Right.
Obviously, when you have a microphone and whatnot in front of your face, like you say what you need to say, and you get over with and move on. But
and then like Willer Abreu, like he was a Golden Glove player too. Like I don't understand like what is wrong with this team and what like everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And if they trade Durant, I just feel like we're so focused on building up with prospects, like with Roman Anthony, like he plays for the Woo Sox right now. And I see a lot of Red Sox fans, they're like, we need to get him boosted up into the show and get him into play. And I just don't understand where like the development might be lost if we start doing that. And then there's some other side where like Christian Campbell, some fans are saying that Christian Campbell needs to get bumped down to AAA when like he had a double the other night and also a walk. So it's like, all right, well, what do you want? Like, where's the consistency in this? Like, what do we want the Red Sox to do at this point? Because we have no fucking idea.
Yeah. And I want to get on to kind of what we wanted to talk about today, but just like on a final note, I always think like whenever you always hear baseball organizations talking about trading a guy for prospects, like it's one of those things that like, God fucking damn it. Like,
yeah,
we have a proven guy who's up here right now. Yeah, we're kind of taking a chance on a guy like, yeah, we might be really good in 3 years, but I mean, you're trading a key part of your team away to basically set up for long-term success, which when it ends up good and it works out for you, I mean, it's basically what the Reds did. They traded a lot of their pieces away back in like 2021 and brought in all these up. We thought they were going to be really good, but I mean, hindsight's 2020.
Right.
A lot of them are struggling at this point. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like either it's going to work out and you're going to get some dogs and guys that are legit major league players, or you're going to trade a key component of your team away, get 3 years in, and your fan base is going to ultimately be like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right. Like, I feel like Cincinnati and Boston both deserve better. Especially
100%.
Like, obviously,
two very passionate fan bases.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not a, a Patriots fan or a Brewers fan, or not Brewers. Yeah, Brewers.
Celtics?
Yeah. Bruins. Sorry, Bruins. I'm not a Celtics, Bruins fan. But like that whole city of Boston itself is just surrounded by championships. And just for like the baseball team to play this poorly, it's just unacceptable. And I'm not surprised that Cora has made it this far because, Baltimore, they fucking shit-canned their manager quick within a month and a half of the season. And the Reds, even itself, like with the Bengals, like the defensive struggles, like you have probably one of the greatest, or not greatest, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now with Joe Burrow, and you have the best receiver in the NFL with Jamar Chase, and then this
and a pretty fucking good number 2.
Yeah, like just completely fucking fumbling. Like I just don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. It's frustrating as fuck, but it's a position that we're in, and we ultimately have to be, as fans, sit here and kind of observe the decisions of our favorite teams, and clearly neither one of us are very happy at this point.
Right. We just ranted for about an hour about how shitty our baseball teams are.
Yeah,
Enjoy that,
yeah.
viewers.
I'll take. Feel free to skip through that if you don't give a fuck. But no, let's get on to what we really want to talk about today. The hammer. Michigan football sign stealing scandal. The whole Connor Stallions sign stealing scandal. Just as a summary from at least my side of things, obviously all of you know Connor Stallions stealing signs on Central Michigan sideline, yada, yada, yada. So we have a COI coming out on Friday. Basically, from my understanding, it's a committee that comes together and they basically present the evidence for what they found through their whole entire investigation. Now, to be 100% clear, that there are not any punishments or any sanctions or anything that are coming out on Friday. But at least from my understanding is it's kind of, they're going to present the evidence to everybody of kind of what they all found. And then they have like a 45-day period to kind of determine ultimately what those punishments are going to be and pass those along to Michigan. Obviously, there's a lot of smoke going on in Ann Arbor right now, Metal. I know you noted before we hopped on here, it's something with recruiting violations or whatnot, or they got recruiting suspension. I mean, there's a lot. The president, Santa Ono, obviously left. Another kind of interesting part of this is he went to Florida to become their president, and then their board of directors or whoever ultimately decided that he was no longer going to be president. I might have something to do with this, might not, maybe not, doesn't have anything to do with it. But it is kind of odd timing with that, and then just kind of everything else that's going on with the Sharon Moore suspension, the recruiting thing that just came out. So, I mean, take it away. What is your perspective on this? And then I'll kind of give my perspective as you go, or give my commentary.
Well, I've been pretty vocal about this on Twitter. So what I feel like is going to happen, my subjective opinion on it is basically what we're going to get is a 4-game suspension. There isn't going to be any choosing which 4 games. I think it's going to be the first 4 games. I think there's going to be a recruiting violation or recruiting fines. And then I also think that Michigan is going to get fined $. So with like the worst that could possibly happen is we get a 2-year postseason ban, along with more 4-game suspension and the 21 through 23 vacated wins. Now
That's the worst you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like that's the worst. Like that's my fear as a Michigan fan, right?
Yeah.
I really don't give a fuck about the vacated wins.
Right.
Just because like I saw them, I mean we all saw them, like, and it happened. It's just like with Ohio State, like, and I can ask you, like, do you care about 2010, like Ohio State versus Michigan? Like, you know what happened. So like Ohio State won, and they beat Michigan that year, you know. But does that really change your mindset? Like the game was vacated? I'm sure not. Like, it doesn't really matter. I don't think the national championship will get vacated. I feel like that's kind of contradicting to what the president of the NCAA said. You know,
about
like
them winning fair and square and everything.
Yeah, like you can't just take that away from Michigan. And then while, you know, a couple years back, you say, well, they won fair and square. Now you just look like a fucking hypocrite, and you're also like contradicting yourself.
Yeah.
If we do get a 2-year postseason ban, I feel like we are kind of fucked as a program. Where, you know, players are going to transfer out of there. There's no reason to play anymore. Like, there's no higher purpose of, you know, going through these games and giving your 110%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if we go 11, you know, 12-0, and we can't make the postseason, like, that sucks. Like,
that's exactly
horrible.
what happened to Ohio State in 2013.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, CFP compared to, like, the BCS is a little bit different. I feel like there's, like, more media involvement in the CFP other than just the NCAA, where, like, they're the ones that are pushing pawns around and, like, different chess pieces. I don't think, like, personally to me, I don't think Michigan will get a postseason ban, and if they do, like, that, it really does suck. Like, losing, like, Bryce Underwood possibly. I don't see, like, other players on the team that just want, like, the Metcalf twins or, you know, other players on the team that just want to stick around for what? Like, what do you get?
Yeah.
Like, you play these games and you don't get anything. Which is sad to say.
Yeah.
And also, like, my thoughts on Connor Stallions, like, I think Connor Stallions is a douche in itself. Like, obviously, he blocked both of us, you know, on Twitter. Because you remember he said I believe it was on the Barstool podcast where he said that he was the hottest coach in college football. But bro,
Yeah, I
dude,
posted a video of him or something, and yeah, he blocked me because of it.
yeah, like dude, like you are a walking fucking grenade. Like you are
Yeah.
cultural suicide to any program that you go into right now, especially that there's investigations going on with the University of Michigan. Like, do you really think that anybody's going to hire you? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
So I think like there's a fine line between vacating wins and doing a postseason ban. So like vacating wins, like kind of like what you said, like we saw Michigan win those games. Like, yeah, there was some funky shit going on, but I think what gets me the most is the Michigan fans that like still claim like they did nothing wrong. Like, I think if you can't sit there and at least admit that, yeah, we were definitely doing something that crossed the line, then I mean, I think that you're just delusional. You're just fucking delusional. Like there was clearly something going on.
Right.
The other side of things is when you hand out a 2-year postseason ban, I don't always like necessarily like really like that because you're kind of obviously you have like Sharon Moore. He was there whenever all this shit was going on. I'm not too knowledgeable on their coaching staff. I know a lot of people left after that national championship year and whatnot. But you're ultimately like punishing the people for something that other people did. So
Yeah.
I like a postseason ban is pretty detrimental. Like that's gonna fuck up recruiting for years. That's gonna basically set your program back a little bit.
It's extremely dire to that. Like, I don't think there's
Yeah.
any player on that team right now that was involved. Like, maybe besides, like, Guy and Moore. Not the head coach, but one of the defensive ends. Like, that were involved in that team. But everybody else is either completely
But even
new.
then, like the players didn't have any involvement.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Sharon Moore is the only coach that's at that school right now that was involved with the Connor Stallions situation.
Yeah. Which ultimately it might fuck him, which they already came out and self-imposed a 2-game suspension for obvious reasons. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna if you give a postseason ban, you're making kids fall on the sword for something that they had nothing to do with and they were not around whenever that happened. I know on the other side of this, I wanted to bring this up. I was listening to another show today. I know like Michigan's recruiting right now is like really, really, really struggling.
Yeah.
I know last year they were kind of in a similar spot. Not like I wouldn't say to this extent. I know Michigan made a lot of noise late in the process, kind of closer to like the fall end of the season, but right before signing day, they had a lot of guys that they were able to get flipped. Obviously, Bryce Underwood being one of them, and a couple others. But I mean, what are your thoughts on like just where they're at recruiting wise? I have their rankings pulled up right now on 247. They've got the 40th ranked class right now. And I mean, I'm not one to sit here and just obsess over recruiting rankings because ultimately how many 5-stars have we seen become busts and how many 3-stars have we seen become stars? So, I mean, if you're getting the right guys in the program that you trust and you think that you can develop, that's ultimately all that matters. But they're definitely taking a step back in recruiting. They haven't been recruiting, at least to my knowledge, for the last couple weeks. I don't know, Metal. What do you think? What is your take on that, and what are your thoughts around all that?
So with Michigan's recruiting, right? So according to 247 Sports, we're ranked 40th. I know that they just have a commit right now with 4-star Brady Smigel. I probably butchered your name. I'm sorry. And then now they're looking at like prospects like the Savion Hyder, who's like the major 5-star prospect, which Michigan probably does need for the 2026 class. Maybe not. I mean, I'm kind of just like you, where like I don't really look into recruiting that much. Besides like what I see on X, and maybe sometimes like I'll just be interested in looking at like our recruiting rankings because I honestly like it really doesn't matter, especially like for Michigan to where like we've had like 3 stars developed into like the 5-star like player position, especially like I mean Mikey Sanders-Drill, like he was a wide receiver and develop into an obviously starting NFL quarterback for the Washington Commanders. And then you have Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, and then so on, right? So I don't. It doesn't really affect me as much, and I don't think it will affect Michigan because I feel like the key point to Michigan's success is player development. Now, that key point is something that could show more carry over into the to the up and coming 4 seasons as the head coach because we saw that with Jim Harbaugh, obviously having his first couple years at his tenure at Michigan, where like Don Brown was a defensive coordinator, and then you had Jabril Peppers, Chase Winovich, and you have all these different 5-star players, and we just could not do anything. Like we lose to Ohio State in 2016, to the JT Barrett, 1 yard short, and then end up ultimately losing to Florida State in the postseason in a bowl game. So I feel like Michigan is the type of team and type of program that develops, and I'm not really too worried about like recruiting that much.
Yeah. I think so. I'm looking through the recruiting rankings right now. I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me is that they only have 7 commits right now, where like the number 1 team, USC, has 27, which the next closest is 18 with Penn State. So obviously they're far and above everybody else. But just to roast you a little bit here, Metal, would you like to know the list of teams that are currently ranked above Michigan right now?
Let me guess. Ohio State?
Ohio State is up there on the list, but you have Purdue, Vanderbilt, BYU, Texas Tech, Indiana is roasting your ass, Boston College, Syracuse. So, yeah, I mean, just to name a few, but on the other side, I can't just sit here with fan blinders on. Alabama is behind you guys. You guys are 40th. They're 45. They only have 5 commits, which is wild. I don't know what's really going on there. I don't follow recruiting that close, but for them to only have 5 commits, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I think that there is definitely something to just their activity on the recruiting trail. Just not really doing a whole lot of recruiting right now. Do you think it has anything to do with everything that's going on with the sign stealing scandal?
I know that it's a self-imposed recruiting ban due to the COVID recruiting violations. I don't think it has anything to do with the Counter Stallions espionage. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. Actually, let me retract that statement. I feel like people want to correlate the two, especially with like Santa Ono, not going to, leaving Michigan and going to Florida when, if you're a president of a school, like
where he got denied at Florida.
Yeah, and then he got denied at Florida. To where like athletics are like the least of your accomplishments compared to academics as a president of a university.
Right.
And then, obviously the recruiting violations, again, like it's just something that where I feel like it's very early for recruiting at this point for the 2026 class. And also the team is also extremely young. Like, having Bryce Underwood, at the helm of Michigan, hopefully, or we'll see what happens. We got who else we got? We got, basically Andrew Marsh was a commit that's coming out. The 6'1" wide receiver is a 4-star. I just feel like it doesn't really matter what happens with the recruiting stuff. Hopefully it picks up. I would love to see that. Obviously, being ranked 40th and having our rival and Purdue ahead of us, But again, I guess it's something that we just have to wait and see at this point.
Yeah, it's still early. There's a lot that can be done yet. But I do want to kind of get your perspective on this. So I've seen a lot of things, just read a lot of things that whenever whenever somebody does something and it's basically like, let's just call it for how it is. Like, this is the first time really anything to like this kind of extent or this kind of cheating, I guess you could say, has gone on in college football. So I know that there's a perspective out there where a lot of people say that whenever you fuck up basically for the first time, they want to put a harsh punishment on you right away for the first team that ever does it so that no other school ever thinks about doing the same thing. With that perspective in mind, I mean, does that worry you at all?
I mean, I feel like the NCAA does want to set a precedence. The NCAA absolutely loathed and hated Jim Harbaugh, especially with his comments about players getting paid. And he just didn't want to like follow the rules. And I know there are people out there that obviously want the hammer to come to Michigan, and I just don't. I don't feel like it is a necessity to where like Michigan. I understand what they did and the involvement of the coaching staff. Even if like you are a Michigan fan and you feel like, well, there's no way that Jim Harbaugh or Sherrone Moore or Jesse Minter or anyone else like would know like what Connor Stalions was doing, because like I just feel like you're kind of just like lying to yourself.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, like I
That's
bullshit. I
bullshit.
don't believe that. Like,
not at all.
Like the lack of like, I feel like we're gonna get hit on a lack of institutional control.
Yep.
But then like that kind of stems back to where like, well, Harbaugh's gone, and so is like the rest of like Michigan's like coaching staff, and Connor Stalions is gone. He got fired. Like literally like a week after the sign stealing ordeal came out, and Pete Thamel released the report on ESPN back in October of 2020, which is funny because I was in a line for Metallica in Detroit, and I was with my dad, and I broke the news to him. He was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" But I just, to be fair, I don't think it's fair if Michigan gets the postseason ban, and the vacated national championship. I just feel like Michigan, as a perspective for college football and the revenue that Michigan brings to the entire NCAA organization, is way too fucking much. And I've gotten some pretty like dumb arguments with people online about this, and you and I hosted a space about this. Like, well, Arizona got a postseason ban, and they weren't allowed to play at all in the postseason. And well, what's to say about Michigan doing that? I'm like, well, Michigan brings $100 more million than Arizona brings into NCAA.
Yeah.
And then there was
sure.
the argument of like, well, that's corruption. If the NCAA committee, decides this in their factor of, the ultimate decision of, well, what is the punishment? And then I kind of thought about this, and I wish I would have thought about this at first, and then I kept thinking about this as days go on. There is no prerequisites to punishments. All you can look at is past evidence of other teams, like Tennessee recruiting violations, the SMU death penalty, the Arizona violations that happened, and then you can kind of just look at that and be like, okay, well, this seems to be a little static. It's all over the place. It's not binary. It's not like, okay, well, Michigan did this, so they're going to get X. Well, Michigan did Y, and then they're also going to get X. It's not like that. Like you have.
Well, I think that there's also another side of it where it's kind of like uncharted territory too.
Right. Like you can say, like you can bring that precedence into like the COI and say, well, we're not going to take any revenue or like money matters into this into our decision. But I also would say that some people probably do have that in the back of their mind, especially like for media. Like I know CBS and Fox and NBC have invested a shit ton of money into Michigan football. Same thing with Ohio State and other big, like, Big Ten or like ESPN with SEC teams. Like, if they
big brands,
yeah, big brands. You know what I mean? Like, if like, it's just the same thing. Like, if ESPN, invested all this money into Alabama, and then no longer Alabama can like play in bowl games for the next 2 years because of sign stealing.
Yeah.
It's so gray. It's kind of like this, this weird like line, like, okay, so like, where do we come up with this idea or this punishment? Like, what are we going to do to Michigan? Right? And my opinion on it, like I said, is like, I feel like money is a huge factor on this. And then they're also going to look at, well, how did this deal with the outcome of the games? Like, how can you quantify and qualify, the arguments that Michigan won because of sign stealing, right? Like, you and I are both fans. We watch these games. We watch the Ohio State-Michigan game every year. And we look at this and we say, well, Michigan obviously didn't win because of sign stealing because they won in 2024.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand like how anyone can go out there and say, well, Michigan won because of sign stealing. It's crazy. It's just it's a scapegoat, and it's also a fucking lampshade that people use easily to say when everyone's watching the same fucking game. And like, I see like Justin Spiro or like Buckeye Scoop, especially Justin Spiro, because he's disingenuous and like he's uncharitable, and his arguments are absolutely terrible, and like he likes to straw man people all the time, right? And the other day I saw his post that said, well, the reason why Ryan Day, and I did it in the Eric Cartman voice, which is pretty funny. He was like, well, the reason why Ryan Day,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, thanks, man. Like, Ryan Day won lost was because of the 3-year cheating scandal. It's like, okay, well, that's just
What
a
about the
lampshade.
4th year?
What about the 4th year? Like, you're not gonna talk about that because you don't have a fucking argument. Like, you just want to say these things again because it's a lampshade, and it's so disingenuous. It's like, these accounts that have like 25 plus fucking thousand followers, and they say these things, and then you get these other brain deads, these other troglodytes that follow this stuff, and they're like, well, that's actually a good point because I believe in that, and I think Michigan, only reason why Michigan lost to TCU is because TCU had dummy signals. Like, dude, you don't watch the fucking games. Like, that's it. That's it. Like, there is no ground. There is no middle ground in this conversation. Like, I'm not going to entertain any of this bullshit. And like, it's just like a travesty. Like, I don't get why you want to say these things, because like, if your account or if your social media platform is only purpose is to talk about these things, what's going to fucking happen when the hammer actually drops or doesn't drop and you have nothing else to talk about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Justin Spiro, for example, is a huge Michigan State fan, barely talks about Michigan State, and talks about Ohio State, specifically Urban Meyer and Ryan Day. Like, it's the neuroticism for Michigan is absolutely insane. And I get it. People don't like fucking cheating. I totally understand that. People don't like cheating, but people also forget. You don't see people talking about every fucking day with Houston Astros. Like, nobody cares anymore. Like, it's just going to be the same fucking situation. And it's just a coping mechanism for the reason why your team fucking lost. Nobody gives a fuck.
So I think that's interesting. Now, do I think cheating, stealing signs was the reason that Michigan was good 2021 to 2023? Like, was that the only reason?
Right.
Absolutely not. Because they had really good players. I mean, JJ McCarthy, Blake Corum, go on down the list. They had really good players. Do I think that it helped them to their benefit? Yes, I think it did give them advantage, definitely in 2021 and 2022. But in 2023, like I feel the most bad for that team because like they didn't need signals to be good. Like that team was just fucking loaded, a really good football team, really good run game, really good defense with a really good quarterback.
Right.
They didn't need sign stealing to be good, but because all this shit was going on, everything that they did during that time is going to be tainted no matter what comes out of the allegations. I mean, to every Michigan hater out there, they're always going to say, yeah, but the sign stealing. And yeah, I don't think that was ultimately the reason like Ohio State lost to Michigan. Like I think especially in like 2021, like you guys basically just turned the fuck around, handed the ball off, and just beat our face in.
Yeah,
2022.
Haskins
Go
had
ahead.
5 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like,
And then 2022, I fully expected us to win it that year. I know last episode we talked about how I wanted you fuckers again because I felt like we were a better team and
right.
basically like there was 5 really, really big plays you guys hit home runs on. And then other than that, I felt like we played a pretty good game. And then in 2023, I just felt like we weren't going to win going into that just because I knew that you guys had basically everybody back from the 2 years prior. So, like I said, I think it definitely helped in their success in 2021 and 2022. I think it helped, but I don't think it's the sole reason why they were good. You still need good players in key spots to execute and make plays.
Yeah, like that that's a good point that you bring up because like if you look at the Houston Astros, right, like and you have like Cora, doing the sign stealing with like the trash can and all that stuff, like guessing like the pitches that are coming across the plate. Like with football, you have too many variables that are happening on the field at the same time.
It's like you still got to hit the ball.
Right. Like you still got to hit the ball, right? Like you still have to being being at bat and like determining, okay, so there's a slider coming through, there's a slurve coming through, there's a curveball coming through. Like you still got to fucking hit it. And then the same thing with like football. Okay, well, Connor Stallions knows that it's a pass or a run play, but you still have to execute on that. You still have to stop the offense. Or if you're on the offensive side, then you have to still like progress and get past the defense. Like it's a much more difficult realm, to get out of than just like what baseball is. Because like I see this argument all the time. I'm like, okay, like I understand like that there possibly is like some strategic advantage to sign stealing, but if Michigan, let's say like if Michigan, like we put in this like hyperbolic sense, right? Like if Michigan did sign stealing like legally, right? If the advanced scouting is not true, right? Like would people still have the same opinion about Michigan?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I totally get your point.
It again, like I said, it's that, like I hate Ohio State, right? But like I'm also objective and I'm also not a cunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I totally understand like the hate for these teams, but when you put yourself in this uncharitable, position to where like you say these things about, your rival team that's just not true, like why would anyone believe you? Why would anyone go to you as a source? As like information. You know what I mean? Like it's just not newsworthy at all. Like you might as well just be like CNN or any other like these biased like media groups out there. Like it's just I'm gonna hear what I want to hear, not what someone's
Logically makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do find it interesting. So I think actually James Frank said, so I think like in critical downs, like it definitely helps more than others. So like if you're on defense and there's like a critical 3rd and 3, let's call it. So that's like a prime down where it's like team might run the ball, team might throw the ball. We don't really know. Yeah. I think he came out and said that it was like a 3rd and short scenario. And basically I think Penn State like threw the ball maybe or something. and Michigan had it covered like pretty much perfectly. And his argument was like nobody is running that coverage in that situation. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a coach. I don't know X's and O's like they do, but like I think that is a point. And the other side of it too is like I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and we drafted Dax Hill back in 2022.
Phenomenal player.
Yeah, like he was awesome at Michigan, but ever since he's been on the Bengals, he's kind of been a little bit of a disappointment. I know that he kind of dealt with kind of sitting behind guys like Jesse Bates his first year and whatnot,
Right.
which Jesse Bates is an all-pro player. But when I think about like what positions on the field do knowing whether it is a run or a pass, what positions on the field does that benefit the most? And the first position that comes to mind is safety. Like, because your responsibility is to fill the run, and then in the pass game, don't get beat over the top, or if you have another responsibility in coverage, you have that responsibility in coverage.
Right.
But if you know on each and every play, like, hey, a run's coming, so I can just come bat out of hell, downfield, fill the hole, and just fuck somebody up. That's like you know that you don't have a threat over the top. I think that helps that position the most. And then you kind of get Dax Hill in the NFL now, and I mean he's struggled to an extent. He's also had a couple injuries that have fucked him a little bit, but I don't know. I from perspective I understand like yeah, it probably wasn't everything, but I think that it did benefit like certain areas to an extent. Now, offensive line and defensive line, like it's not really benefiting them much at all. Maybe defensive line a little bit if they know like a screen's coming, but I mean, the fact of the matter is you either got to fucking block or you got to defend the run or rush the passer. Like that's what you're doing, and Michigan obviously dominated in the trenches 2021 through 2023. Like they were elite in those areas, and that was ultimately why they were a really good football team.
If you look at like to go back to your comment about like James Franklin, it's like third and short, right? And you look at like Michigan's in this cover scheme, like cover 3 sky. And like they just automatically know, what, or they're in the perfect coverage to stop. Let's say, a pass play that's coming along. It's kind of funny because like the two coaches that Michigan, gained in the 2021 season was Mike McDonald, and then 2022 Jesse Minter, right? Like, and then going on to 24. Like what is the relation between like Wink Martindale, Jesse Minter, and Mike McDonald?
I would just say that, I mean, they're really good coordinators.
Ravens.
Yeah, they all connected to Jim's brother John and the Ravens.
Yeah,
Came from the NFL.
So you look at like Wink Martindale, who's like the the grandfather of the Ravens defense, and then you have Mike McDonald, who's there, who coached defensive coordinator for the Ravens, and then Jesse Minter was on a position coaching staff. I don't think he was a DC for the Ravens, but like they all inherited the same idea to where like instead of Don Brown, where his teams are like blitz first, then play like nickel coverage, to where like you have Wink Martindale, McDonald, and Minter, to where all they Minter and McDonald kind of inherited this idea of, okay, well, what if we put the the defense in like a cover, like a passing coverage to stop these plays, and also to where like our D line is good enough, to win in the trenches, which we saw this, 21 through 24 season, and then you saw this
it
like
was
specifically against Ohio State in the game last year, to where like there was a couple plays where Ohio State was I think they were driving, like they were in the red zone, and I think it was 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 7, and Will Howard basically they threw it was a hitch route to Mecca Ibuka, or curl route to Emeka Buka, and what was it? Makari Page picked it off. Like it's just those defensive schemes that it's that NFL mentality to the college perspective that really pushed Michigan over the top. Besides, like in the college defense perspective, to where like a lot of people don't really understand. Like Don Brown was a fucking cancer to this team. Like he was horrible. Like I've never seen a coach, like a defensive coordinator, that just fumbled all these different 5-stars, and we were so bad. We just couldn't stop the pass plays, and we would just get cooked. Like especially in 2018 against Ohio State, where like the quick routes, the slants, like the drag routes
speed
that
won that game.
Yeah, speed, like a blitz. Like blitz every fucking down, or like you make it seem so obvious where like there's no shell coverage, and we just lose. Like we just get blown out. And that's like I believe that like the coaching change in 2021 was what really, tipped the scales for Michigan. And like the offense, I feel like Jim realized that like we still need to be this run first mentality, to where like we just need to dominate in the trenches. With like really good offensive line and like running backs, and basically be this like what Joe Klatt says, like this boa constrictor, that just wear the defense out. But I mean, I guess like everyone's opinion on this, is everyone has an asshole and they all stinks, blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like it's just something that like is constantly being talked about. And when is it gonna die? Probably when, the punishment comes out and Michigan gets X, Y, and Z. So who knows?
Yeah. So from my perspective and what I think is going to happen, so I like to kind of fall somewhere in the middle, because I think like Michigan side has their point, Ohio State, Michigan State, all the Michigan haters have their point. And I think a lot of things, whenever you have two sides that are really strong about one side or another, I think it always falls like somewhere in. So I think that there will definitely obviously be suspensions. Like Sharon Moore is already suspended 2 games. I agree. I think he will get more. I also think that there will be wins vacated, but I do not think that includes the 2023 national championship. But so I think 2021 and 2022 will be vacated. Now, that weird period in 2023 until Stallions was fired, I don't know if you necessarily just be like, oh, we're going to eliminate 6 of these games while he was on staff and then just give all the rest of them to you. So I think that they'll just let them keep 2023, let them keep the title, and then vacate 2021, 2022, give some kind of recruiting violation, because they've already done that with the whole Burger Gate and everything that happened there and the illegal recruiting during the COVID period. But I agree with you, like on the brand side of things, like college football is better whenever Michigan is in the spotlight and whenever they are in the national conversation, because Michigan has a massive following, like Ohio State, like a USC, like a Notre Dame. Like they're going to get views and ultimately drive revenue. And I think I agree with you 100% that like the college football playoff also plays a huge role in this. I know that they're not part of the investigation necessarily, but I know that there's a lot of money on the table that you are going to be leaving on the table if you don't allow Michigan to get into the postseason. And I know other people have also said like, well, they weren't there last year and everything. Like, yeah, they just won a national championship. They had damn near every coach leave. They had fucking 40 guys leave. Like they had a pretty complete roster turnover. And ultimately, hindsight's 2020. If Sharon Moore just goes out into the portal and finds a competent quarterback, like Michigan probably has a 9-10 win season last year. I think that having a better quarterback ultimately levels that team up, because they were still could run the ball and they had a good defense.
Yeah, like I totally agree with you. Like if Michigan had a competent quarterback last year, I feel like we would have won we would have lost 2 games. Probably Texas, definitely that.
Yeah, that's just an early game.
like Wink Martindale just like couldn't adjust to college yet. And then like
And you have a brand new roster, like going up against a really experienced roster. Like you're probably losing that game every time.
Yeah, they were Texas was like predicted to be the best team in the country. Like they were like.
I mean, they damn near went to the national championship. Like that Ohio State Texas game was down to the wire.
Like Quinn Ewers was also, a projected Heisman winner.
Yeah.
And that we obviously all saw how that ended up, but if Michigan has a competent quarterback, like we probably lose to Texas and like maybe Oregon. I
think they definitely would have lost. They definitely still would have. Oregon was cooking during the regular season. They were good as fuck. They just unfortunately ran into a buzzsaw of Ohio State who just put everything together at the right time.
Oregon, which is funny, they like Dan Lanning and his entire regime of just that offense with like just all that talent that they have in offense and defense, like they just could not handle with Ohio State at all. And they were flawful.
During the regular season, I mean, they were 13-0 going into that Michigan game or Ohio State game, right? Yeah, because they got a bye. So they were 13-0. I mean, they were rolling. And then they just had the game where, like I said, Ohio State just started hitting on all cylinders. And I don't think if Ohio State loses to Michigan, I don't think that they come out and play like they did in the postseason. I think losing to Michigan ultimately lit a fire under Ohio State's ass, and there was nobody stopping them. They were just pissed off team. They hit rock bottom losing to Michigan, so they had nothing else to worry about. That's literally the worst thing that could have happened to them. So they just played carefree football, and I don't think anybody was stopping them at that point. And ultimately, I think Dan Lanning is building a fucking monster out in Eugene. Like, I think Oregon is going to be... Yeah.
Dante Moore is the UCLA transfer. He looks good.
Dante Moore, I mean, he's got an open checkbook out there with Phil Knight. I mean, he's a really fucking good coach. He's definitely going to win a national championship in the next few years. Like I will take that to my grave that Oregon will win a national championship in the next 3 seasons. But I think that like they're coming into the Big Ten with plans to run the Big Ten. And I think that there is a chance that they might do that. Like they're going to be an issue for Ohio State. They're going to be an issue for Michigan. They're going to be an issue for Penn State. Like they're going to be one of those teams that's constantly in the top 3 year in and year out in the Big Ten.
Oh yeah. Like luckily Michigan doesn't have to play them next year. I mean, as much as like I think Michigan during the regular season is
both of us avoid them, thankfully.
0-3 against Oregon. Like we just can't it's the same thing with Ohio State. Like we just can't beat Oregon during the regular season.
Yeah.
Like there are their flaws. Like Dan Lanning has his flaws. I just don't know what it is, but like
he's a young coach.
He is very young. Like I think this is like his 3rd year coaching.
Sounds right.
As a head coach. Like
but I mean, we saw this same thing with Kirby Smart and Ryan Day. Like Kirby Smart not struggled, but like he was only winning 9-10 games his first couple years, where like Ryan Day was the same way. I mean, it took him 5 years to kind of figure it out, but they're still good coaches. Like they're going to figure it out. And Dan Lanning is the same way. He's going to figure it out. But I don't know, not to get too off topic there. That's ultimately what I think is going to happen. I think 21 and 22 is going to be vacated. I think there will be recruiting violations, and I think Sharon will be suspended. But I do not think that there will be any postseason ban. I think that's where the line is drawn, I think.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you. Like I'll take vacated wins from the 21-23 season or 21-22 season. Like again, like it just doesn't matter to me because we all saw what happened.
They won those games.
Like if people want to feel better about themselves, and have this like little comfy blanket, of saying like,
Well, Michigan has all these different games vacated now, and I can finally sleep at night.
like, good for you, dude. Like, I'm so fucking glad.
I'm not sure what
Honestly,
that changes other than just like gives you a little bit more ammo to talk shit, I guess.
right.
But
Like,
like,
okay, like I'm just gonna ignore it. Like, all right, cool.
yeah, I mean, if I go and if you go and like give a postseason ban, then yeah, like that's
Then we're
shit people
fucked.
can talk to you about. Yeah, like
Yeah.
people can talk shit to you. But I mean, I don't know. I've always said like Ohio State, Michigan State, whoever else always say like the hammer's coming, the hammer's coming. But like I've talked to enough Michigan brain deads on X where I'm like, you guys could get the death penalty and you guys would still make fun of like the hammer. It's just like two delusional sides. Like I think it's honestly like a small percentage on each side
Right.
that like say the world's coming down, and then you also have the flip side of that, Michigan fans who are nothing happened, everybody does this. Like, come on. Not everybody does this. This is different. Come on.
It's like Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling.
Right.
Just like in pure like pandemic, like panic, and also being manic about this. Like I'm kind of just like at this point where like I just want it to happen so I can, embrace it for whatever it is, like either being like recruiting fines or like Sherrone Moore getting suspended or like the unfortunate of, like postseason ban. Like whatever it is, like I'm just here for it, I guess. Like just being a Michigan fan.
I'm ready to get it over with as well as an Ohio State fan. It's been something we've been talking about for a year and a half now, approaching 2 years. Like,
yeah,
something happened. We can all agree on that. We can settle on a middle ground on that. Yeah,
if
funny how that works.
If you're like, if you think about it, like if you are Buckeye Scoop, right? You are this brand that's literally built around just the pure punishment towards like Michigan. What are you gonna do if nothing happens? Like, what is your brand gonna be? Like, I know like him and Nevada Scoop, like I understand like they have their like resources or sources like to the NCAA and like what's going on and stuff. Like, if nothing happens, can you imagine like the catastrophe surrounding that around that? Like, people are already like talking about like I've had some Ohio State fans in my comments talk about like Scoop's like countdown to the hammer, whoever this like fucking like young like intern is like running this account, right? Like, and then once this hammer comes like Friday, which is the COI, like what was the point of the countdown, bro? Like, you just did this like arbitrary like decision of making a post like every fucking day about like X days to countdown. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, you're just countdowning to wait for another countdown. It's like the military. It's like hurry up and wait. It's like just get here.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just like it pisses people off. Like, all right,
I don't know. They've been all over this shit since day one. They act like that they have all these really good sources and everything. They're loud about it. That's no joke. They're definitely really loud about it. Yeah.
Very vocal.
But
it's like, all right.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, Friday, I think we're going to get some of the evidence that's come out, but ultimately, we're not getting any kind of punishment probably until August timeframe, somewhere in there.
Yeah, probably. We'll see what happens with that. If we get fucking butt fucked in front of the college football nation.
Yeah.
Bring the lube.
So we got our second episode in.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a lot of information, a lot of content.
Yeah, that's what we were talking before this. Like, there's just a lot of shit. I know our intro is pretty fucking long today, but it's like there's just a lot of shit going on in the sports world right now, from the Memorial, NHL Finals, NBA Finals.
Oh yeah.
College World Series, update on the baseball shit. Ohio State's doing new shit to their stadium. Like, we still want to like talk a little bit about that stuff, but I mean, I think as we go, like, this is just a really, really, really loaded week.
Oh yeah. It was good, definitely a good conversation. Hopefully our viewers out there like may have learned something, and if something that the viewers out there want to talk about next week, just give a comment in the comment section. Just tell us how we did. Hopefully we didn't suck. And hopefully we all had a good time. I had a fucking good time. That was a really good conversation. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good conversation. I hope my audio is a little bit better. I don't think I said this at the beginning,
Pristine.
but I have Metal hooked me up with this nice Focusrite
Yes, sir.
headset and microphone and whatnot, and I have my headphones on right now and I sound clear through that. So I know last time I did the whole trick with my AirPods and I listened to it, and the first time through I kind of cringed a little bit, but I'm hoping my audio sounds a little bit better this time. So
Oh yeah, it's the same stuff I used to record like some soundtracks or like some guitar tracks and all that stuff. So definitely fucking fantastic.
Maybe we can get a brand deal with Focusrite. Tell them that we both got Focusrites. We can promote the shit out of their stuff on our show. Maybe they'd be down. Might have to look into that.
That would be awesome. Maybe they'll send us some 8x8s, 8x8s, I think. Which goes
send us
into
all
like
the
a
free
fucking
shit.
rack. Like, all right, give us free stuff, please.
Well, everybody, thank you for listening. If you could please like, subscribe, download, you help us a lot. I'm pretty happy. I was looking at our numbers before the show. We had 40 downloads on Spotify and over 60 views on YouTube. So we had 100 combined with our first episode. So I'm hoping this one does a little bit better. But no, we're going to keep grinding, do this every week. We're going to try to start shooting to do this at the beginning of the week. That way we can get it out to you guys. I know that it's a little bit easier and listeners to listen to the stuff in the middle of the week versus when we drop it on a Saturday morning and you got a lot of stuff going on over the weekend. So, appreciate the support. Love all you guys' commentary on Twitter and whatnot. And if there's anything you ever want us to talk about, just let us know and we will talk about it.
Yeah, please, like if you guys want us to talk about something, another brain dead fucking take that, Divided and I can like go over and correlate and basically, quantify and qualify and all that stuff, please do that. I would love to. I love the brain deadism. I love the tisms.
Yep. We can maybe at some point, if somebody's up to it, maybe even bring somebody on the show too. We can always do that as well. So
I have a few names in my head that we can probably bring on if they're willing to.
I think Intrinsic might be down.
Ooh, yeah, I love Intrinsic. I know like everyone, a lot of Michigan fans fucking hate him, but like I know what he's doing.
He's interesting to talk to. He knows his shit. He knows his shit. He's a good dude.
Super
He's
smart.
he just likes getting y'all fired up.
Oh yeah. I can see like a lot of like Michigan fans were like, oh, like you're definitely 40-year-old virgin just sitting there like a troglodyte in your basement. Like he's obviously doing that for a reason. Like he's just engaging with you. Like it's working, bud. Like deal with it.
The name of the game is engagement.
Yep.
Well, everybody, appreciate you. Episode 2 done. The middle ground out.